Shalom, family. All right, so welcome to our new moon Sabbath class, okay? So, here this evening, we'll be celebrating our new moon according to the word of the Most High. And today's lesson will be on President's Day, okay? Also known as George Washington's birthday. So, now, some people celebrate this, others don't, but at least it's good to get it from a biblical perspective and understand even some of the history regarding it and seeing if this is something we should or should not celebrate, okay, according to scriptures. So let's go ahead and get a source I'm get from Britannica.com, and I'm going to read a little bit on President's Day. So President's Day in the United States, holiday, third Monday in February, popularly recognized as honoring George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. The day is sometimes understood as a celebration of the birthdays and lives of all U.S. presidents. The origin of President's Day lies in the 1880s when the birthday of Washington, commander of the Continental Army during the American Revolution and the first president of the United States, was first celebrated as a federal holiday. In 1968, Congress passed the Uniform Monday Holiday Bill, which moved a number of federal holidays to Mondays. The change was designed to schedule certain holidays so that workers had a number of long weekends throughout the year, but has been opposed by those who believe that those holidays should be celebrated on the dates they actually commemorate. During debate on the bill, it was proposed that Washington's birthday be renamed President's Day to honor the presidents of both Washington, February 22nd, and Lincoln, February 12th. Although Lincoln's birthday was celebrated in many states, it was never an official federal holiday. Following much discussion, Congress rejected the name change after the bill went into effect in 1971. However, President's Day became the commonly accepted name due in part to retailers' use of that name to promote sales in the holiday's proximity to Lincoln's birthday. President's Day is usually marked by public ceremonies in Washington, D.C. and throughout the country. And that concludes at least this article on President's Day from Britannica.com. So now, with that being said, let's get understanding. So we're getting an understanding that it's made to commemorate George Washington's birthday, but also Abraham Lincoln's, and even extended for many, all U.S. presidents. But now, is this something, from what we can find, according to Scripture, is this something that we should be celebrating? Should we be going out partying and celebrating? Let's get Deuteronomy 17:14 through 15. Let's get the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17, verse 14 through 15. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17, and verse 14. And it reads, When thou art come unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shalt possess it, and shalt dwell therein, and shalt say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. So the Most High God was explaining to our people when he was establishing us as a nation that, hey, look, when you guys get to the point that you're going to want a king or ruler like the other nations have, a president being a king, but you use presidents and things of that nature because America is more so ran as a corporation, or a business. That's why we have president, secretary, and so on and so forth in the manner that you do. But generally, he's the king as far as what the scriptures would identify as. So now, when it says, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me, verse 15, thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. So it was important to the Most High that he lets us know and understand when having someone set over you, they should be of your own people, okay? So you don't want a situation where you just have anybody ruling over you. You want to make sure it is your people, okay? And also with that, it says, it was generally customary that, hey, the Most High, he identified who that leader, would also be through his prophets. So, and his ministers letting those things be known. But it was also a key thing to where making sure we weren't in a place to where we would be advocating for some other nation or people to rule over us or lead or guide us in some kind of way. And that information being a big part in terms of if we wouldn't advocate for them to lead us, why then will we advocate to celebrate them? So, and them leading over us. Let's get 2 Samuel 23 and 3. Let's get the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 23, and let's read verse 3. And I can start verse 1 through 3. 2 Samuel chapter 23 and verse 1. Now these be the last words of David. David the son of Jesse said, and the man who was raised up on high, the anointed of the God of Jacob, and the sweet psalmist of Israel said, the Spirit of the Lord spake by me, and his word was in my tongue. The God of Israel said, the rock of Israel spake to me. He that ruleth over men must be just, ruling in the fear of God. So King David, was understanding, he had a moment where the Most High God showed him and spoke to him. So, and was telling him that, hey, he that rules over Israel, one of the key things, and it says he that ruleth over men must be just, ruling in the fear of God. Okay? Now, when you look at various presidents of the United States of America, has that been the case? Have they been ruling justly? No, they have not. They have not been ruling justly. So from what it is that we could tell both historically and how this country has been ran, that hasn't been the case. Okay, let's get Psalms 104 and 35. Because the Most High God, he's looking for just ruler. That's who he wants to uplift. He wants to uplift the just. Let's get Psalms chapter 104 and verse 35. The book of Psalms chapter 104, verse 35. It says, let the sinners be consumed out of the earth, and let the wicked be no more. Bless thou the Lord, O my soul, praise ye the Lord. So when it comes down to those who aren't moving right, the Most High God, he doesn't want to have anything to do with those individuals. If they're not going to get right, he doesn't want to deal with them. So if the Most High doesn't want to deal with them, you think he would want to celebrate them or want you to celebrate them and their victories and their accomplishments? Absolutely not. So, because at the end of the day, the Most High doesn't care if it's not grounded and rooted in righteousness. It's not a concern to him. Let's get Proverbs 28 and 4. The book of Proverbs, chapter 28 and verse 4. And it says, they that forsake the law praise the wicked. So you see that? Those that start to go away from the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments, they are the ones that begin to praise the wicked. Okay, so of course, the world is going to uplift various actors, actresses, comedians, so on and so forth, athletes, because they're following the ways of the world. They're forsaking the laws of the Most High God, and they're not concerned with trying to live a life of righteousness that's pleasing to the Most High. So you're gonna have that domino effect to where the people are going to love them because they cannot identify with, hey, they're living their lives how I am in some regard. So, and that's, the world is going to love its own. So that's just the case. But the moment you start having various individuals, need to be athletes, actors, actors, start to stand for righteousness, then what happens? They start to become ostracized, criticized, humiliated, put on blast, end up getting blackballed or ousted, from their communities. It's nothing good, and they either have to apologize, to make things right, and repent from whatever righteousness that they thought they were trying to do, and conform back to the ways of the world, or otherwise lose their careers. Okay, so but Proverbs 28:4 is key, that they that forsake the law praise the wicked. Okay, if you're trying to oftentimes celebrate these other individuals, it's a lot of time because you're going away from what the Most High God and His laws command us to do. So, we don't want to be in a place where we choose to praise, the wicked. So we don't want to uplift anyone who's not trying to conform to righteousness according to the Most High God. So that would include, in the celebrations. I'm good. So let's get Matthew 8:21 through 22. Let's get Matthew chapter 8, verse 21 through 22. Look at Matthew chapter 8 and verse 21, and it reads, "And another of his disciples said unto him, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. But Yahushua, who is Jesus Christ, said unto him, Follow me, and let the dead bury their dead." So, and of course, these things can even be explained more in a lesson. But here you had a situation where one of his disciples, they were already with him and together. They were already together. And he said, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. It's like, man, you already here. If that was what you do, you could have done that, prior, but you're already here. But a key thing he lets him know is that, look, the mission, we want to focus on, the Most High. And he said, look, let the dead bury their dead. So we have to worry about our dead, our people. So those that are trying to do right. So it was the same thing, over here trying to celebrate what they got going on in this regard in terms of present day or whatever else. You trying to celebrate what they doing. You should be worried about celebrating what your people are doing, what your people are on, and not trying to uplift and celebrate what it is that your oppressor is on, let alone someone of your people that's just wicked. But it's where's your mindset and your focus, at. So, and from there, let's get Proverbs 21:16. So let's get Proverbs 21:16. And of course, Christ had to tell him in a situation where he wanted to understand, like, man, look, at the end of the day, if they weren't sincerely following after righteousness, you gotta understand their judgment, the situation where it's going to be the lake of fire. So unless they sincerely begin to repent and change their life around. So that's why I let the dead worry about the dead. But as far as those who are alive, meaning they're moving righteously, oh yeah, worry and deal with them. Because at the end of the day, if they die, the key is you should see them again in the kingdom, in righteousness. So because that's what the promise is to all those that lived in sincerity and in truth. Let's get Proverbs 21:16. The book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 16. And it reads, "The man or woman or child that wandereth out of the way of understanding," if you depart from the understanding of these scriptures, meaning, as people say, you leave the truth or fall away from the truth. You fall out of the truth. So you're going back into the world, not keeping these laws, statutes, commandments anymore. So, man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Okay, that's what you're dealing with, the dead. You are spiritually dead. So going back again, what Christ is saying, let those that are spiritually dead worry about those that are spiritually dead. Because you need to be worrying about those that are quickened with the everlasting spirit, with that Holy Spirit. Because those are the ones you're going to be reunited with in righteousness and will receive the same reward as you. As for the dead, their judgment's the lake of fire. It's nothing. God has no regard for them. So, and he wanted them to understand, that spiritual concept and understanding and trying to get past the flesh that many of us like to concern ourselves with and the outer appearance and who we think this person is, or this celebrity, artist, so on and so forth. So, and what man puts the value of that person on. That doesn't mean that that person is of any respect or regard to the Most High God. Let's get Sirach 44 and 1. Let's get the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 44, and let's read verse 1. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 44 and verse 1. Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us. It said, now let us praise famous men and our fathers that begot us. Why? So, because we have to understand who we should be giving our praise to. It's not a problem to give praise unto men. There's a balance, yes, of course. It isn't just in general, I give somebody honor or glory and now that's idolatrous. No, not just off top. But it can become that with anything. Anything can become idolatrous. So anything can become an idol, any person or anything. But it's understanding it's not a problem to give people praise or honor and glorify them for things that they do. But in righteousness, we're praising and famous men and our forefathers that were righteous. That's the key thing he wants to say. That's why it's saying, let us now praise famous men. Let us focus on the key men that were famous. We'll get more of that. Let's get 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 31. Let's get some of them famous men and women and children. 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 31. 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 31. And it reads, I'll start verse 30. When he was ready to die, with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto the Lord, that hath the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in body by being beaten, but in soul am well content to suffer these things, because I fear him. In verse 31, and thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a noble courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation. So this is an example of what it was saying in Sirach 44 and 1 in terms of let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begot us. This is a famous man that, man, look at him. A beautiful story. We don't have time this evening to get into the whole thing, but a beautiful story of Eleazar the scribe, an elder, age elder. So well stricken in years, who, what was in a place to where he could have sold out and been a stumbling block to many people of his nation, but he held strong and relied on the Most High and his law, statutes, and commandments, and was faithful even unto death. Because sometimes you read, sometimes Most High would deliver you from death. Other times, you gotta go on this one. So, and it isn't necessarily because one is wicked, but these stories and situations of even the righteous going to that point is things that can help build our faith, as some of us may experience the same thing and may die, for righteousness, as many have over thousands of years. So these are the examples and the stories and histories you want to praise. These are the people who, man, remember this, toast and celebrate to that man who, to Eleazar for doing this, man, and pray that, man, if we live to be elders, that, and for those that are elders, can leave a similar notable example, for the nation and for those that be younger. People can toast to that, celebrate that. Those are things to celebrate, honor, and cherish. Those are things to reminisce on and to share amongst each other, that's to be glorified. So that's something that's special and beautiful. Let's get Psalms 106 and 42. Let's get the book of Psalms, chapter 106, And we're going to read verse 42. The book of Psalm, chapter 106, and verse 42. And it reads, their enemies also oppressed them, and they were brought unto subjection under their hand. So we have to understand that with all of these U.S. presidents, we've been in a place where we've been subject unto them, oppressed by them. We're and even furthermore, like the preface of how it begins is, these are our enemies, not our friends, not truly our brothers and sisters, because of how they have chosen to treat us. How they chosen to treat us and how they regarded us was not ever one of love. So it was only in terms of, if anything, they use us for the benefits which we have that suit them, but overall, it's not love. So and it's something to where it's a problem with how they treat us, because they oppress us, okay, with how difficult they make it for us. And you see even their justice system, seems like there's two different laws, a law for those of Esau and a law for everybody else, especially even special laws if you're an Israelite. It just seems like it's special laws against you. They try to throw you under the jail anytime they get a chance. All the more, why you wouldn't want to celebrate them, So in general, let's get Psalm 31 and 15. Get the book of Psalms, chapter 31, and let's read verse 15. Book of Psalms, chapter 31, and verse 15, and it reads, my times are in thy hand. Deliver me from the hand of mine enemies, and from them that persecute me. See, the thing that we should be praying for, hoping for, that the Most High God delivers us from the hand of our enemy. Not for us to be celebrating and trying to join hand in hand with our enemy. No, we're praying to be delivered from the hands of our enemy and from all those that oppress us. Look at Psalms 136, and let's read 10 through 21. These are our heart's desire. This is what we should be looking forward to, focusing on, and man, trying to be happy about. Look at Psalms 136, verse 10 through 21. Look at Psalm chapter 136 and verse 10. It says, to him that smote Egypt in their firstborn, for his mercy endureth forever. So see, he smote Egypt. Even though we were in the land of Egypt, it was a situation where we weren't there amongst our friends, amongst our brothers and sisters. We were amongst our oppressors. So will we be celebrating the pharaohs of Egypt? No. You think our forefathers were trying to celebrate the pharaohs of Egypt then? No, they were not. They know those were their oppressors. So, man, if you go back, remember, for most of that time, a lot of our forefathers, we were slaves. And man, you think they'd be trying to celebrate, they're willingly celebrate their slave masters as a majority? No. So, continuing, 11, and brought out Israel from among them, for his mercy endureth forever. The Most High, he brought us out from amongst the Egyptians. He separated us. We're trying to separate and depart out from amongst our oppressor. 12, with a strong hand and with a stretched out arm, for his mercy endureth forever. To him which divided the Red Sea into parts, for his mercy endureth forever, and made Israel to pass through the midst of it, for his mercy endureth forever, but overthrew Pharaoh and his hosts in the Red Sea, for his mercy endureth forever. See, he overthrew Pharaoh. He overthrew the presidents of that time. What do you think he's going to do to those now? Governors and leaders, overthrow them. So because of how they're ruling, he doesn't support them. And if the Most High doesn't support them, should we? No, not in that way. Not to glorify them in that way. So 15, but overthrew Pharaoh and his hosts in the Red Sea, for his mercy endureth forever. To him which led his people through the wilderness, for his mercy endureth forever. To him which smote great kings, for his mercy endureth forever. See that? Most High God, he smote great kings. Great meaning, hey, and not in terms of great meaning good, but great meaning in terms of them having notoriety. They were known, even in the history books today, a lot of those kings that the Most High God, he smote. And that isn't necessarily like, hey, I'm going to strike to smite. Man, Most High, everything is dang near a weapon for him. No matter if they got a disease, Most High smote them. Doesn't matter if one of their relatives slew them in their sleep. Hey, Most High smote them. So he smites kings. Because Most High can use anything as a weapon. So he doesn't use guns and knives like man does. Nah, he is. It tells you he uses the animals. He uses man too. Man, anything could be a weapon for the Most High. So, and the weather. So now, to him which smote great kings, for his mercy endureth forever, and slew famous kings, for his mercy endureth forever. So man, Most High God, again, you're not untouchable in the eyes of the Most High. He doesn't care how famous you are, how great you are. He doesn't care how big of a house you have, how many cars or chariots, horses you have. So doesn't care how big your collection of Oscars or your medals are. That doesn't matter to the Most High. Thing on 19, Sihon, king of the Amorites, for his mercy endureth forever. Now it's mentioning some of these kings, like Sihon, king of the Amorites, and Og, the king of Bashan, for his mercy endureth forever, and gave their land for an heritage, for his mercy endureth forever, even a heritage unto Israel his servants, for his mercy endureth forever. So now, even giving that too, like, man, you got to understand, Most High, he will literally move those kings and out of their place to make way for you as Israel. He said, hey, I'd rather glorify you as long as you're worthy, as long as you're moving worthy. And you moving worthy is you moving according to the word of the Most High, following righteousness. So, verse 23, who remembered us in our low estate, for his mercy endureth forever, and hath redeemed us from our enemies, for his mercy endureth forever, who giveth food to all flesh, for his mercy endureth forever. I read 26. Oh, give thanks unto the God of heaven, for his mercy endureth forever. See, that's even big too. The Most High was always redeeming and saving us, but at the end of the day, he give food to all flesh. He feed everybody. Even as Christ said, hey, even the ravens neither sow nor reap, but hey, God feed them. He feeds everybody. He takes care of everybody. He does good, hey, to the just and the unjust. Like the scriptures say, he maketh the sun to shine and his rain to fall on the just and the unjust. He takes care of everybody, even if everybody don't take care of him. But he makes sure, hey, the other day they might get the crumbs, but the loaf is for Israel. And even then, the other day, if they don't get right, guess what? They're going to be destroyed. So, let's get Isaiah chapter 14. Let's get the book of Isaiah chapter 14. We're going to read verse 1 through 8, and we're going to skip around a little bit. Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 1. It says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. This is something the Most High is going to do. He's going to be merciful. He's going to still help his people. Even now, this is a prophecy that will come to pass. And the strangers shall be joined with them. The strangers being the other nations. Okay, so shall be joined with them. And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, meaning the other nations, they're going to be in a place where they're going to be trying to stick to the house of Israel. So they're not in that place now. What's going to change? Well, when judgment comes, they have to have the fear of God, like, dang, God's really real. And this is his government, and this is how we have to submit. That is what's going to get them to change their mind and want to follow you. Verse 2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. So, and they shall, I'll read on, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So, this is something that we're looking forward to. And some people may read this and they may have a problem with it because they think when they hear that the other nations, the world is going to go into captivity under Israel, serve Israel, they think that to be something initially bad. So, because there's a lack of understanding, they think, or some think that when they look at how so-called blacks were treated in America, they think that's what things are going to look like. So, chattel slavery and all these other things, and it's not going to look like that. It's going to be ruled under righteousness. So under the law that you read, and they forget you're servants even now. Even now you're a servant. Even now you're a slave. You think just because you have a 9 to 5 and drive a nice car that you're not a slave, or own a house, that you're still a slave. So servant, employee. Another word for it is a servant. Another word for servant is a slave. But there's levels to it. Just like an indentured servant, also a slave. So, but not at the same level of what you would deal with as the slaves of old. That's why there was a different term for it. Oh, you're not one of them slaves. You're an indentured servant. A little different. Let's continue. So, verse 2. So, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. So, we're going to have them as servants and handmaids and take them captives, who captives we were, and rule over our oppressors. Verse 3. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. We haven't had that yet. Most High God has not given us rest from our sorrow, from our fear, and from our hard bondage. So, sorrowing because we're dealing with chronic sicknesses and diseases. Sorrow because we lose friends and family members through death, gang violence, police brutality. Fear that CPS may take our kids away. Fear that we might get deported. Fear that house may get raided. Fear that, police can stop us for anything and incarcerate us for anything or kill us for anything. Fear that I don't know how I'm going to be able to pay my rent, my mortgage. All those fears, those things be wiped away because those will no longer be issues. Those will no longer be problems we'll have to deal with. So, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. We will no longer have to clock in at a 9 to 5. We'll no longer be working to build this kingdom or this system. And we'll now have our own system, our own kingdom that we'll be actively building. Now we're on verse 4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. Against the king of Babylon, this is dealing with the king or president of the United States. So this is what these things are dealing with. So, because by king, you're dealing with the ruler. Babylon, not dealing with ancient Babylon, but dealing with modern day Babylon. Babylon being the city of confusion. The modern city of confusion, the spiritual Babylon, is America. So, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Be happy when this kingdom is no longer operating. And it's the golden city, the land of opportunity, they say, land of flowing with wealth, and riches and opportunity. That's golden city. Verse 5. Lord, I've broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. That staff is supposed to like that scepter, rulership. Nah, he's broken that. They're not in rulership anymore. Now, or at least at that time, in the future, it'll be us. 6. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruleth the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. Because that's what's going to happen. There's not going to be anyone to hinder, the persecution of America and Esau, because they're going to understand it's the will of the Most High God. And it's going to be real on a level where the judgment is going to be so severe, you're going to know it's God at that point in time because of how severe the judgment is going to be. It's not going to be a secret anymore. So right now it's a secret. Oh, well, God may do this. We don't know who's doing it, and it just happened, coincidence. But nah, it's going to start becoming more and more obvious that the Most High God is serious, and He's the God of Israel, the God of you so-called blacks, Latino, Native Americans scattered out the four corners of the earth, and He's serious about righteousness and redeeming the righteous of His people. So, reading on, verse 7, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. It said the whole earth, when we come back into rulership and Esau's taken out of rulership, that the earth will rejoice. That's like literally not only the people of the earth, but the ground itself, nature will rejoice. Think I'm lying? Read on. 8, yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feather has come up against us. So it look, since Most High God has come back in the power, and since the other nations have been removed, especially namely Esau, man, ain't nobody trying to. All these trees ain't getting cut down as much because Esau he's wasteful. So a lot of excess, just like with Egypt, a lot of excess. They said, look, since they've been laid down, man, we ain't getting cut down like that. So, and that's part of what will help replenish the earth. You got all them trees, so to help bring forth more oxygen, and freshness back again to the air. So now I'm going to skip from verse 8 down to verse 16 and 17. Verse 16, it says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man? Because we're dealing with people, a particular nation of people. That's what I'm saying. Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Because it's like, man, this is the person. It's going to be narrowly looking at him. Narrowly you look at somebody, man, that's narrowly looking like, man, this was, man, we used to be afraid of this. This the people that used to be conquerors. And, man, that's how you're going to feel at Esau. 17, it says, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. He said, man, this is going to be this was the man that was ruling this way and had everybody shook and that's where I was going to be. Narrowly look upon him because he's not going to have any power anymore. 3 verse 20 through 22. Verse 20, thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. It's like, look, the seed of evildoers, they're no longer going to be uplifted. They're no longer going to be famous. So right now, seed of evildoers, they're known and because they have positions of power, politics, and so on and so forth. But it's like, man, that's going to come to an end, an abrupt end. Let's read on verse 21, 22. 21, it says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. That the Most High, he's going to have enough's enough. He said, look, prepare slaughter for his children. Many people think, all these things were just in the past. For the Most High, these things are still very much so relevant to the things going on today. And he said, look, it's just as good. He said, look, for their children to have to, pay for it, because you're still reaping the benefit of these things. That's how you still own all these benefits. You got a good head start because of the things your forefathers did to obtain that. And still on stolen land at that. This is prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers. Because, boy, America still glorifies the founding forefathers. Say, hey, you're going to also have to pay for everything that they did. according to the Most High God. So, because he's the one that's going to be bringing forth, most of that judgment. It's all going to be on him and his time. So, verse 22 says, "For I will rise up against them, said the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord." So he's not playing. He said, look, I'm going to cut off the name and remnant. Meaning that name, United States of America, it ain't going to be known as nothing anymore. It ain't going to stand for nothing that it stands for now. It ain't going to be the land of opportunity, land of plenty. It's going to be the land of damnation, the land of abomination. So it ain't going to be nothing beautified anymore, according to the Most High God. So that's what he has set up for it. That's what's going to come. He says, he said, look, I'm ending the lineage. Ain't going to be no right or line of succession anymore. I'm cutting off. Ain't going to be no more passing these homes or these businesses down through inheritance. I'm cutting all that off. That's not going to be the case anymore. So, like he says, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. None of those things are going to be accepted of the Most High God anymore. Let's get verse 24. The Lord of hosts has sworn, saying, surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass. And as I have purposed, so shall it stand. Most High, he sworn that. He made an oath. He made a promise. The Most High God is not a man that he should lie. So what he promises, it's going to come to pass. So it's not a matter of what anyone may say for or against it. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. This is Most High God is going to make it come to pass. Whether I'm alive or you're alive to see it or not is up to the Most High. But regardless, it is going to happen because it's his will. Let's get Luke chapter 1, verse 68 through 73. Get the book of Luke. Let's get Luke chapter 1, verse 68 through 73. Book of Luke, chapter 1, and verse 68. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people. That's who we're blessing. We're blessing the Most High for visiting, taking care, and saving his people. 69. And hath raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David. Man, he raised up, a leader for us. Christ, Mashiach Yahushua in the Hebrew. 70. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began. Speaking through all of it is prophets, man. All the people that he found holy, separated, and dedicated unto him. 71. That we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. That's what's going to happen. That we're going to be saved from our enemies and from all those that hate us. It's pretty sure to say that these presidents, they hated us, because any one of them, and most of them have been there since the time we've been enslaved, could have improved our situation. They didn't make a concerning effort strongly to do that for our sakes. That's the other key. If anyone had, a lot of times it wasn't for our sakes. It was really for their sakes. Or for their people's sakes. But not truly for our sakes, sincerely. Reading on, verse 72. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant. That's the key. The things he promised to our forefathers, those things still have to be fulfilled through us. He didn't lie from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and so on and so forth to other prophets that came. Those things still have to be fulfilled in us in this current day and age. So, as it says, verse 73, the oath which he sware to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him all the days of our life. So that being the key thing we should have to be looking forward to. So, of course, as many of you guys know, I would not celebrate President's Day, need to be watching birthday Abraham Lincoln's or any other of the presidents. Um, I wouldn't be, celebrating them, and their achievements. So in those things, okay. Um, and especially not as a major holiday type thing or situation. It's one thing where, hey, happy born day to a person, but they're not honorable, in the eyes of the Most High God. So I wouldn't. But praying Most High willing, you got something out of this lesson, and praying these things with words that help, edify you on more of the topic and the situation. But going to go ahead and end things here. So with that, I say, Shalom.